What is up, everyone? I am Colin Lynch with JustBetOn.com. It's officially Super Bowl week. It's Friday today. Super Bowl is coming up on Sunday. We're going to have a side. I'm thinking about playing a money line. We got some props. We're going to try to get through this fast so it's not a super long video. So let's get into it. As the line currently stands right now, the Niners are -2. The total is 47.5. And on the money line, the Niners are -122. The Chiefs are +110. This line opened up at San Francisco -2 right after the Niners beat the Lions. It quickly went to 1.5. I think a lot of that was people getting on, trying to hedge their 49ers future plays. As we know, every single book has said that they had a liability with the Niners to win the Super Bowl, not only from the season, but from the beginning of the playoffs. And then it quickly went back to 2. Now there's some 2.5s out there. I currently still have 2, but I see some 2.5s out there. Let's look at the breakdown. Look, everyone seems to be on the Chiefs, no matter where you look. Currently, 70% of total tickets are on the Chiefs at +2. 74% of the money currently on the Chiefs +2. Looking at the money line, it's a little bit less, but it's still the public on the Chiefs. 65% of total tickets are on the Chiefs at +110, and 60% of the total money right now is on the Chiefs at +110. Look, this has got to be the sharpest Super Bowl we've ever seen. It's in Vegas. They're going to get a record number of bets, a record number of ticket, a record hold. You just got to think that they're going to be super sharp. It's eye-opening for me to see that amount of money is being placed and that amount of tickets are being placed on the Chiefs. And we're not seeing Vegas really try to get any money on the Niners. We do know, the head of William Hill, MGM, have all said they had a massive liability on the Niners. Like I said, the future for the season. That has kind of been wiped out by the amount of money that's coming on the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, which is pretty interesting. I can't remember any time where we've seen a team in the Super Bowl, yes, they're a Super Bowl favorite, be a massive liability for books for futures bets, and then that kind of get wiped out with the amount of ticket and handle that is coming in on their opposition in the Super Bowl. For a bunch of reasons, let's get into them. I like the Niners. Let me tell you why. First, let's go back to that game. We were on the Ravens in the AFC title game. Wildly disappointing. Look, you got to hand it to Andy Reid. The opening script was excellent. He knows McDonald's going to blitz a lot. 2-3 step drops, getting the ball out of Patty Mahomes. They went right down. We saw a ton of man coverage. Kelsey ate them alive early. That's just what Andy Reid does. That was excellent, and I started to get a little bit nervous there. You're like, all right, are they just going to dice them all game? The Ravens adjusted. I think the biggest adjustment the Ravens failed to make, and I don't understand it at all. You have a bottom 5 run defense for a very good defense. Spagnuolo has an excellent defense for the Chiefs, but they're bottom 5 in run defense. The Ravens ran the ball 6 total times. 2 of those 6 rushes were in heavy set. They went heavy set, and both of those rushes went over 18 yards. One for 18 yards, one for 22 yards. They were in a span of 4 plays, and I sat down. I said, okay, here they go. They're going to start to run the football. They never went back to it. They tried to throw against this team, the Chiefs. And, after the game, I thought one of the most surprising interviews was Steve Spagnuolo. Right after the game, he said, look, a lot of those were run blitzes. We expected them to try and run the football, and we were getting pressure with a ton of run blitzes. Anytime I thought you saw Chris Jones on the field, I thought we would see them audible to a run. It just didn't happen. Now the Chiefs were not great in that second half. 7 possessions, 7 punts. The Ravens kind of beat themselves. You have obviously the Flowers fumble at the end zone. You have Lamar inexplicably throwing to triple coverage on from their own 20. They made a ton of mistakes. I thought the Ravens were good enough to win that game. I thought they were even good enough to cover the number. It didn't happen, but the Chiefs didn't look great in that second half. Now on the other side, you can say the same thing. I mean, the Niners didn't look good against Green Bay. I think you could argue that probably 65% of their playbook was taken out when Debo went down on the 4th play. And they started horrible against the Lions, but they figured it out. Again, a lot of Lions mistakes, the drop passes, the fumble. but they really finally started to exploit that terrible Lions secondary. So looking at where the money is, I think this has to be a super sharp line. I think Vegas is fine with the money that's coming in. Yes, partly because they're happy that it's wiped out their liability on the 49ers future. But I think they're okay with a lot of this Chiefs money. So I'm just gonna say I'm gonna be on the Niners -2. I'm gonna be on the Niners -122. I mean, normally I would never ever do this, but things get weird in the Super Bowl. That's to kind of protect myself against a 28-27 Niners victory. It's also to protect against a situation where the Chiefs are down late and they go for 2, they don't get it. Take that that push at -2, and then the win on the Niners -122. So those are locked in. Let's hop into the props now. I'll try to get through these fast. It's a lot of information. I don't want to make this a super long video. First prop I'm going to be on, it's my favorite prop. Christian McCaffrey, over 18.5 rushing attempts. He had 20 in the NFC title game. Keep in mind that's a game where they trailed for 3 quarters and he got hurt late, allowing Elijah Mitchell to come in and get 4 carries late. Also, again, like I said, Chiefs bottom 5 run defense. I'm shocked at how little the Ravens ran the football. Obviously, Kyle Shanahan's going to be watching that. He's their best player. They're going to get the ball in his hands. I like him for over 18.5 rushing attempts. I absolutely love it. I think he's going to get over 20. Got my papers all messed up here. Moving along. All right. These two go together. All right. I think the worst I can do with these two props back to back is go 1-1. I hope to go over, hit both of them and go 2-0. The first one is going to be Brandon Ayuk over 62.5 yards. He's coming off a game where he had 68 yards. That's 62.5 yards receiving, by the way. He's coming off a game where he had 68 yards receiving, but just 3 total catches. Remember that catch off the helmet, and then the other bomb against the Lions. Look, he has a great matchup. I think this is the matchup of the game against L'Jarius Sneed. He's the best matchup guy in the secondary for the Chiefs. But Ayuk this season is top 10 for wide receivers against man coverage when it comes to yards per game. And I also think Spagnuolo is going to be forced to come off out of man coverage a bit, which means I don't think Ayuk's going to be matched up against Snead all game. I think they're going to be super creative in how they get the ball to him. I think they're going to test this secondary, especially when they start to wear them. I expect them to wear them down with McCaffrey. They're going to take those quicker, smaller linebackers out of the game. They might get Chris Jones out of the game a little bit more to try and stop the run, and then we see I think we're going to see them go over the top a little bit, and I think they're going to go with Ayuk. I have him over 62.5 yards, and like I said, I'm playing it with this one. Kittle over 47.5 yards. Look, he's coming off a game, the NFC Championship game, where he only had 2 catches for 27 yards total. I think Shanahan's going to try to get him involved. I think he's going to really try to get him involved early, especially if we see this man coverage. Kittle's dominated man coverage all season long. He's averaging 22% more yards per game when a defense plays 50% man coverage against the Niners. And like we said, I think they're going to be in man coverage early, and that's where they're going to get Kittle. I think he's really going to try to get Kittle involved early. Let's move along. Deebo Samuel. This is an interesting one. This one's I really do like it, but it's one that you look at it and it kind of makes you nervous because it's not a big number. Deebo Samuel under 15.5 rushing yards. Let me tell you why. First of all, this number, 15.5, that's gone under in 14 of 17 games this year so far for Deebo. So he's only had 3 games where he's eclipsed the 15.5 rushing yard number. He had 3 carries for 7 total yards in the NFC title game. His current rushing attempts total is set at only 2.5 for this game. And the Chiefs, as a defense, only allow 4 rushing yards per game against opposing wide receivers. So if he gets it right around that 3, we're looking at 4 per attempt. We're still looking at 12. It's a little scary because he could pop one, and the next thing you know, he doesn't get another. He's not going to have a big loss on a rush. But I think when they're rushing the football, we might see one of these, where he comes in motion. They're going to do the misdirection with McCaffrey going one way and Deebo going the other. As long as he doesn't pop that one, I think they're mostly going to hand the ball off to McCaffrey. That's going to be a focal point of the offense. And so I like Deebo on that under. The other one is Mahomes over 4.5 rushing attempts. Let me tell you why. Mahomes was pressured on 33% of his dropbacks in the AFC title game, and that's largely in part because Joe Thuney was out. Joe Thuney is trending to be out once again for the Super Bowl. It's another reason why, I kind of lean the Niners. I think that's a massive part of it. I think that defensive front for the Niners is going to give them fits with no Thuney. In that AFC title game, no Thuney and 33% of dropbacks being pressured. That resulted in 6 total carries for Mahomes. And look, it's a playoff game. We know he loves to create with his feet. We know when he gets pressured and, he gets out of the pocket, he can take off. Especially if he sees the back of helmets to him. And then the last thing is a little baby hedge here, a little baby insurance. If we're wrong on the side and the Chiefs are leading late, those quarterback kneel downs late, those count as rushing attempts. So that could be working in our favor, a little bit of insurance there. Mahomes over 4.5 total rushing attempts. So those are all of our plays. So I'm going to be on the Niners -2. I'm going to be on the Niners -122 on the money line. And then our props: McCaffrey over 18.5 rushing attempts for the game. Ayuk over 62.5 total yards receiving for the game. That's paired with the Kittle over 47.5 yards receiving. Hope we go 2-0 over there. I think the worst we go is 1-1. Debo under 15.5 total rushing yards for the game. And Patrick Mahomes over 4.5 rushing attempts for the game. Look, it's the Super Bowl. It's the biggest gambling event of the year. It's supposed to be super fun. Have fun with it. Get your bets in. Get locked in. Watch the game. Let's hope we have a good Super Bowl. Best of luck, everyone.